welcome to another episode of the Armchair Crew Chief. We are 4 races into the 2024 NASCAR season. My name is Jordan. I am alongside my lovely wife, Rebecca, and we have our esteemed producer, Claude the Cat, over here with us. He is checking on things, making sure everything's good. So let's go ahead and dive into everything here. Start off with a little bit of news, a little bit differently here. ARCA, we don't really touch too much on ARCA, but Sawalich won the race. The General Tire 150 at Phoenix. He pretty much ran up top the whole time, if I remember correctly. He didn't lead a lot, but he was up there.
Yeah.
And so he was up there doing some things. Other little bit of news, Ryan Vargas is going to be running the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series this year. And then Carson Quaffle won the Cars Tour Late Model Stock Opener at Southern National Speedway. And so that's just a little bit, switching up a little bit, since we didn't have all 3 series running this past weekend. It was just Xfinity and Cup Series. So we will go ahead and dive right into the lineup qualifying for the call811.com every dig every time 200 race.
It's like my favorite title of a race ever.
So bumping into that, we have person got our pole was Cole Custer. Then Chandler Smith, Corey Heim, Riley Herbst, Justin Allgaier, Sheldon Creed, Jesse Love, Eric Almirola, and John Hunter Nemechek. On rounding out the top 10 was AJ Allmendinger. So going into stage 1, our top 5, Riley Herbst, Eric Almirola, Justin Allgaier, Cole Custer, Chandler Smith got stage 1. Stage 2, we had Riley Herbst, Chandler Smith, Eric Almirola, Justin Allgaier, and Cole Custer. A lot of the same. This race was Allgaier's to lose. And I say it was Allgaier's to lose because I think it was, he had a 3-second lead going into lap 195 of 200. Mm-hmm. And he spun. Lost the tire and spun.
Yeah.
All by himself. Stunk. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was rough. Also causing some wrecks and involved in wrecks, and it won't be the last time we talk about him, was John Hunter Nemechek.
Yeah.
Chandler Smith actually got into Chick Hicks, John Hunter, and you would see that if you saw the paint scheme that he was running, which, oh my goodness, he had one main sponsor, but he had 15 other sponsors laying around there. So it was Chandler Smith turned John Hunter at lap 144 of the Xfinity race. 11 cars got damage in there. Sam Mayer, Haley Deegan, Parker Retzlaff, Jeb Burton, unable to continue. But going back to the restart, so we had a green-white checker restart because of what happened with Justin Allgaier. And we had Chandler Smith come out on top. So our top 5 for the end of the race was Cole Custer, Austin Hill, Sheldon Creed, Jesse Love, and Chandler Smith. SVG got 6th. Brandon Jones recouped 7th. His car looked chunky Saturday.
Yeah.
It was all kinds of loose, spinning around, kind of crazy. And so it was rough. Parker Kligerman ended up 8th in this race. So yeah, it was a little bit different. They've been pretty good. Haley Deegan 33rd, John Hunter 32nd because of that wreck. Eric Almirola, he got in an accident 31st. Frankie Muniz, He ran the 35 this week. They actually talked to him, which was kind of weird because the John Hunter wreck, they red flagged it. Mm-hmm. And they talked to him. They talked to Frankie for a little bit, which I think is just because of his superstardom or whatever, being Malcolm in the Middle. But it's kind of different to hear somebody else talk besides anybody else within
the regulars or whatever.
Yeah, the regulars. I don't know. It was different. Austin Hill, he didn't get up there and win the race, but RCR had strong cars yet again, second and fourth at the race. Mm-hmm. But Joe Gibbs coming out on top like they have been doing at these mile and a half miles, running fairly strong. Yeah, there was only 2 in there because the other 2 got in a wreck. Mm-hmm. But they were doing pretty decent. Then moving on, let's see if we have I think I have a way too early driver standings for you guys for this. Now this is point standings. This is not playoff standings or anything like that. We have in our 10th place, Sammy Smith. He dropped 4 spots. Brandon Jones, 9th. Allgaier, 8th. AJ Allmendinger, 7th. Sheldon Creed, 6th. Jesse Love, 5th. Riley Herbst, 4th. Cole Custer, 3rd. And then we had Chandler Smith take over Austin Hill's number 1 spot after that win. So that leads it to them, and we only had 3 races for them. And, well, we had 4 races, but technically 3 because Kyle Busch won 1. So on the standings, Austin Hill and Chandler Smith are the only 2 people that have won a race within the Xfinity Series that are regulars. Mm-hmm. Which is John Hunter won 1 as well, so I can't take that away from him. So that's our standings there. Moving on to Phoenix and qualifying for, just talking about practice. Joey Logano had the fastest lap during practice. Denny Hamlin, Tyler Reddick, John Hunter, Austin Cindric was your top 5. Toyotas were up there, with the slowest Toyota being Ty Gibbs at 17th, but, then Truex at 12th, then Bubba 9th, 8th was Bell, so on. So qualifying, people thought Joey Logano was going to get up there, and he was going to get his 4th top row start. He laid a big old egg. So our top 10 for our race, Carson Hocevar, he ran pretty strong during qualifying. Watching that, Michael McDowell 9th, Chase Briscoe 8th, Noah Gragson 7th, Reddick was 6th, Byron 5th, Eric Jones 4th, Chase Elliott 3rd, Ty Gibbs 2nd, and then Denny got the pole. And if I heard correctly, he ran the fastest lap in the Gen 7 car at Phoenix.
I'm really shocked by Michael McDowell. He's been in the top 10 every race this season. Yeah, well,
I'm telling you that's because of them Ford demoting Stuart Haas. But look at the strongest Stuart Haas car out there. It didn't translate well in the race, even though he did. I say that. Let's see, race finish.
No, he did pretty well.
He did pretty well. He still wasn't the best Stuart Haas. But still, it kind of shows you who's who going up there. So just going into stage 1, our top 5 in stage 1 finishing off. Chase Elliott had a decent showing throughout most of the race. Eric Jones 4th, Denny Hamlin 3rd, Ty Gibbs 2nd, Tyler Reddick 1st. Going into stage 2, 5th was Truex, then Byron, Hamlin, Tyler Reddick, Christopher Bell. There is a ongoing theme here within those. If you haven't picked up on it, it's Toyota kick butt.
Yeah.
I think they led everything except for whatever Todd Gilliland led. However many laps. 14 laps. Toyota led every lap except for 14 laps. I mean, they came out and this is where they kind of struggled because Chevrolet would come out. That's what I was talking about before. I thought Chevrolet was going to win this race, and they came out and did it. Let's see, they said combined a total of 298 of the 312 laps. Hamlin started the pole, then you had him with 68 laps, Ty Gibbs 57, Truex with 55, Bell with 50, and then you had Tyler Reddick with 68. So, you don't hear who Fox has been kind of in.
I picked Tyler Reddick to win. He didn't win, but
yeah, he didn't win. Which we'll talk about that later, though. We'll talk about that later because that that plays into what we were going through before, or what Rebecca's been going through with her picks. But the person that Fox and I think NASCAR has been telling everybody they're the one to watch did nothing.
They kept saying that. Look out for Bubba Wallace. Look out for Bubba Wallace.
They kept saying, look out for Bubba Wallace. They kept saying, look out for Joey Logano.
Yeah.
Joey Logano, again, he
got crashed.
Yeah, he got crashed. Well, he
who?
crashed. No, he crashed because of, and that leads us to the big one that happened. I think we had 2 calls for cautions out there. We had one early in the race, which I don't even remember what happened with that one. There was a spin. Derek Kraus spun and collected Austin Cindric and Austin Dillon. Or no, Austin Dillon got caught up in the other one that we're about to talk about.
Has Austin Dillon finished a race yet? I feel like he's been in every crash.
I don't know. It's interesting because, so going on to what Rebecca's leading on to, Chick Hicks, a.k.a. John Hunter Nemechek, ran right into the back of Joey Logano.
Yes.
And caused...
It was kind of like the same wreck that he did in Xfinity.
No, what happened to him in Xfinity? Chandler Smith got into him.
It happened to him. Okay.
So, I'm not going to give John Hunter credit for that one. That was Chandler Smith that kind of got into him. Now, did John Hunter come up on him? I see it playing in my head, but it was the angle that they had. I couldn't tell. Maybe somebody else could tell. Anyway, Austin Dillon got caught up in that one. Unfortunately, Corey LaJoie, Joe Logano got caught up in that one. Cindric got caught up in that as well, and just tore cars up like crazy. Kyle Busch got hit. He spun a little bit.
Yeah, didn't Denny spin too?
So Denny spun. He was leading, or no. Reddick was leading. It was Reddick, Denny, Truex for the top 3, and Denny spun running into Reddick. They bounced off each other. And he spun.
Yeah, I didn't actually see that, so I just heard it.
So, yeah, Truex... So the reason Todd Gilliland led his 14 laps was he gambled at the end of stage 2. He tried to stay out to run to the end of stage 2.
Yeah.
But tire fall off was too crazy here. It always is, but it was more fall off here than before because of the change in the rules package, aero package that they had, and they brought a softer compound. So the aero package didn't change so much. I think they went from... So Super Speedways and those guys, they run 5 strakes underneath the car and the rear. They had 4, I think, last year. They put it to 2 this year to make it more of a driver car. Then they brought a softer compound here. Goodyear did. Mm-hmm. And that, I think, caused some of the issues that we saw with some of these cars. Mm-hmm. And handling-wise. But Denny got spun, they called it. But Gilliland led for a little bit. That was his 14 laps. He led. And then Truex did the same thing towards the end of the race. Mm-hmm. There was that John Hunter caution happened. And they were talking about, should we come in? And James Small made the call, which hindsight being 2020, was not the best call that he should have done. He should have came in and pitted, and he would have, who knows what would have happened. But he ran it 50-some laps.
Yeah, I think it was like 55.
And he got out to a huge lead.
He did.
4-second lead, 5-second lead,
Yeah,
because
I think
everybody
it
else
was
was
about
fighting.
5.
Everybody else was fighting each other. But I still find it interesting because one of the complaints Truex made, going back to what you've talked about for the past race, is he was getting PO'd because you can't pass.
Mm-hmm.
And that frustrated him. He's like, I don't know what to do. You can't pass. The fall off's crazy. It's ridiculous. But I mean, saying that, he went in and pitted, and he had fresh tires.
Yeah.
He unlapped himself, and he finished the race in the top 10.
Yeah.
So
7th?
I think so. So I mean, he kind of shot himself in the foot, but he had
better tires than everyone else, so
right.
That did help him. I think it's when you're all together and the same.
Right, it's hard.
It's hard to pass.
So our top 10 for the end of the race: Tyler Reddick finished 10th, Chase Briscoe 9th, McDowell 8th, Truex 7th, Ross 6th, Blaney 5th, Keselowski 4th, Gibbs 3rd, Buescher 2nd, and Christopher Bell 1st.
Yay!
So
Christopher Bell, I didn't pick him, and he won.
So
Woo!
the funny thing is, and I saw something, I commented on TikTok about this. It was something that Bob Pockris put up there, a video, and he put it on all the socials. But Christopher Bell called out Pockris and said, "Don't you pick me, because every time you pick me, I lose."
Oh, so it wasn't my fault. It was his fault.
It's Pockris' fault. It's not your fault.
It was his fault. It wasn't my fault.
So, but yeah, that was kind of funny. RFK did really well. They had their 2 cars in the top 5 this week. Briscoe and
Blaney finished well, too.
He finished 5th.
He's like a little sleeper there because I keep thinking he hasn't done anything. He hasn't done anything, but he keeps being like in top 5,
right.
top 10.
Yeah, exactly. Briscoe and Gragson are the 2 cars that are Stewart-Haas. Mm-hmm. Preece has really done nothing.
I don't think he's going to do anything. I don't think.
He found his way up top and ran up front for a little bit, but then he always fall back.
Yeah.
And then, so you have Briscoe and Gragson.
I don't think
there.
he was ready to come up yet.
What, Preece? Well, he was up before, and then he went down and then came back up.
Yeah.
Because they decided to leave. They swapped out Custer and Preece.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Which ticked off.
I think it was good for Cole, though.
Josh Berry was struggling.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, the 41-4 for Stewart-Haas have been like pretty much horrendous this year. And then you have the 10 and the 14 who have been running fairly well. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with them and how everything goes. Ty Gibbs was another guy who quietly...
I think he's going to win a race this year.
Probably. But he's going back to what he did last year. Quietly running, top 10, top 15, not really taking anybody off, really, and just going
Thankfully, he was obnoxious in Xfinity.
Yeah, it was pretty bad in Xfinity.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, it looked like there was some pretty good racing towards the other end of it. Fighting back and forth.
I think the tire fall off helped too, because there was like people crashing and different things. Right.
Yeah, the crashing, tire fall off. And nobody failed inspections. The 5 car and the 6 car are going back to the R&D center for further inspection. Chastain was the only Chevrolet driver to finish in the top 12.
Wow.
And I'm going to confirm that. That is true. I mean, Toyota swept the floor with this race. Chevrolet fell flat on their feet because these type of races are usually Chevy races.
Yeah.
And they weren't. So, I mean, that was interesting to see. The only non-Toyota driver, as we were talking about, Ty Gilliland ran in Front Row Motorsports Ford during a cycle green flag pit stops in stage 2, held the spot for 14. Reddick won the first stage. Bell claimed victory in the second stage, and then Seabell won the race. Mm-hmm. It would have been interesting to see what happened with Truex if he would have pitted with everybody else, where he would have gone.
Yeah. I don't know.
Because, I mean, he
just would have had to have... yeah, but the tires, though. So
yeah, it was funny.
He would have really had to have kept his position and gotten ahead at the restart.
It was funny because listening to his radio, I was telling you this Sunday, listening to his radio, they asked him how many turns on his brake bias he had. And he said, I had 3. And his crew chief goes, 3 clicks? And he says, no, 3 turns. Did I stutter? And if anybody knows the relationship that those two have, I
don't know how they're still working together.
I don't know either.
They seem like they do not like each other at all.
No. Maybe they just
And James Smalls makes some stupid decisions.
He has made some really dumb decisions.
Really dumb.
So
I was really hoping they would have gotten rid of him this year.
I would hope so too.
And he would have gotten somebody else.
So moving into our 2 early standings, our 10th place, Daniel Suarez, and remember these are non. This is not grouped by wins. This is grouped by points. You have Daniel Suarez, Chase Elliott, Denny Hamlin, Ross Chastain, Ty Gibbs, Tyler Reddick, William Byron, Truex in 3rd, Larson 2nd, Blaney 1st.
Yeah, look at that. Blaney 1st again.
He has, 151 points, 43 stage points, 3 top 5s, 3 top 10s, 1 DNF. He's led 43 laps. Larson's led 205 laps, 2 stage, and Blaney had a stage win. And then you have Larson, 4 starts. Now, this is the crazy thing. So Larson and Truex are tied. I think the only reason that puts Larson ahead of Truex right now is because of the win.
Mm-hmm.
They're both 10 points below. Larson has 10 more stage points than Truex does. But they're both in their 4 starts. 1 win, no top 5s for Truex. 1 top 5, 1 top 10 for Larson. 2 top 10s for Truex. Larson does have a DNF, and he has 2 stage wins. Truex has no stage wins. Byron has no stage wins. He just has that 1 race win.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go down to the other guys, and you look.
One where sorry.
The best, the one everybody's been looking out for.
The one that you couldn't have written a better script for.
Yeah, right. So,
eye rolling.
30th place is Joey Logano. He actually dropped 6 spots. And they talked to him on the pre-race show. And he's like, I'm not worried about it. We're close enough. Whatever, blah, blah, blah. He is 100 points behind the leader. 100
That's
points.
Crazy. Especially since he had the pole, for what?
Polls don't mean anything.
No, I know they don't mean anything, but I mean, they don't mean anything for points, but they mean something for the race. Usually, good track position, good pit selection, so generally you do better.
Corey LaJoie dropped 6 spots as well. He's 23rd.
Yeah, well, he got DNF'd.
Yep, he has 1 DNF. He
got squished.
Yeah, he got smooshed. So it's, like I said, it's way too early standings to figure things out. I mean, shoot, you could go to playoff standings if you really wanted to, and that's where it gets a little... You're around to 16 drivers, which they're not even showing right now on here. They're still showing, the guys from last year in here.
Mm-hmm.
So it's way too early to be talking about that. Just figured to bring it up. Anyway, going on to our going forward, I figured Craftsman Truck Series let you know who the late model star who's going to be running at North Wilkesboro. This came out for Tricon. His name is Butterbean Queen. Brendan Butterbean Queen, set to make Truck Series debut at Tricon, for Tricon.
What in the world?
I heard that earlier this week, and I thought that was pretty funny.
Butterbean.
Butterbean. Nothing too crazy going on. Eric Jones was upset at Briscoe during the race too. I think they kind of got into it a little bit at some point. As we mentioned before, Logano was angry at John Hunter, and for happening with that. So, what a better race to go to than Bristol after that those frustrations.
Oh yes,
and it's on concrete, no more dirt.
Yeah. I hope it's like old Bristol racing. Lots of crashing. Lots of heated moments. It's fun like that.
So we have 36 trucks running for the 250 lap event. Xfinity's got a week off this week. And we have...
Xfinity's off?
Xfinity's off. Because this is like how it was last year. Whenever they'd run dirt, Xfinity would be off. So they're kind of mimicking that same idea.
Oh.
From last year. So we have 36 trucks going in for the 250 lap event. We have William Sawalich is going to be running the one truck. Mason Massey. I'm trying to see if anybody pops up. Kyle Busch is going to be running the 7 truck this weekend.
Oh, I saw real quick that Hendrick is doing 10 races in the Xfinity series.
Yes.
And I was like,
we talked about this last week.
I don't remember talking about that. Oh, okay, whatever.
Yeah,
Sorry.
they're running 10 races and they're running their guys
so
in the
ridiculous.
Races. And that's how it is. And it's going to be a HendricksCars.com car.
Yeah.
I
just think that's just wrong. 10 whole races.
I think it's hilarious. And I know that these are two separate entities. Now you got me on the tangent. Jeff Gordon goes on to Dale Jr.'s podcast. Oh, we don't make any money as Hendrick Motorsports Cup Series, blah, blah, blah. Yet, all this crap happens. They're winning all these races. I call bull crap on that. I mean, yeah, you're probably spending a little bit more, but you're making money, one, because you have people like Spire and all these other Chevy manufacturers that are not running with ECR. Coming to you.
It's just Jeff Gordon. Jeff Gordon's always been like victim mentality kind of guy.
It's silly. I don't understand it. I don't understand those books.
He would just he just would play things down
because Byron won a lot of races, so you're winning a lot of money. You're winning.
Didn't he win
like
6
something
races
like
last
that? I don't
year?
know what it was, but I mean, you're winning that many races. Yeah, the purses are you're splitting $9 million or whatever it is between the 30 cars. But the number one car is getting most of that money. And what I'm trying to correlate to is if they're not making any money, how is anyone else making money? Exactly. That's what I'm sitting there thinking in my head. Because you're the one sweeping the floor with everybody. You have Chevrolet behind you as the number one Chevy person. I don't even care because RCR is probably 2 because they have their own engine builder, ECR, and then it splits out from the rest of them. So it's
I would figure them saying they're not making any money because
especially with Austin Dillon running the freaking car, he just stinks it horribly. He's like a big old vacuum cleaner. He sucks. I mean, and it proved it here in this race. You're running in the back of the pack and you get taken out in a wreck. The only way you win is if you punt somebody like you did to Corey at Atlanta 2 years ago, and then a rain race, or you punt somebody else at Daytona.
Yeah,
I haven't seen yet heard of, and some correct me if I'm wrong, podcast world, but Austin Dillon in the Cup Series hasn't won any races where he hasn't forcibly moved somebody out of the way within the final 3 laps.
Yeah, he hasn't.
And it's just ridiculous.
That's the only way.
Regulation laps too, mind you.
That's the only way he knows how to win. He can't. I don't think knows how to win without doing that.
Yeah. So it looks like the only non-regular running is Kyle Busch. And for the Truck Series races,
at Bristol, he's probably going to win.
He's going to be running the Spire Motorsports Group 1001 Chevrolet.
1001?
Yeah, I don't know what that is. Corey had their sponsor this past weekend. So, moving on to that, let's go look at our entry list for the Food City 500. Moving on, Ross is going to be running Busch Light. Cindric running Discount Tire. Austin Dillon's going to be running his good old COPD. Barry's got Sunny D. Brestry, if you didn't pick up on that. Larson, back to Hendrick Cars. Kozlowski's running King's Hawaiian. We have LaJoy running Gainbridge, which, again, that's one of those things with... I went blank on the guy just now. Andretti. And his play with that is Gainbridge. Gainbridge sponsors a lot of Andretti out in the IndyCar. Which IndyCar ran. They ran their first race this week. Joseph Newgarden got the win. Pretty good on that. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. Anyway, Gainbridge. Kyle Busch's sponsors FICO. Then you got Napa going with Chase again. Here is one that's going to be different, and I'm curious to see what this car looks like. Noah Gragson is going to be running the Bass Pro Shops, Tracker Boats, and ATV, and Ranger Boats car. So we have another Bass Pro Shop car.
It would be cool if it was like a boat on it.
Well, I think he ran Ranger Boats at
you could totally
the 500.
make it look like a boat. That would be cool. I feel like if somebody would do that, it would be Corey. Build me a boat.
Yeah, right.
Put it on the car.
He had his face on the front. Corey LaJoy, if you ever hear this... Yes, twice, yeah.
Twice.
No, he had somebody else's face on the car, too. Somebody won, and they put their face on the car. Oh. So, Corey LaJoy, if you ever listen to this, besides helping us out and being a cool dude, get a boat on your car. Somehow, some way. Put a boat in your car, man. That would be awesome. Mavis back with Denny Hamlin. Menards Dutch Boy for Blaney. Mahindra for Briscoe. Kaz Gralla is going to be running the 15 this weekend. He's got N29 Capital Partners, which they've been running with a lot of Rick Ware. Mountain Dew and Cheetos, the Dinger. Mountain Dew and Cheetos is going to be running the 16.
And Cheetos. Is it going to be like split down the middle? Lime green on one side and bright orange on the other side?
I think they do Flamin' Hot.
Oh, yeah.
You do Flamin' Hot Cheetos going into Mountain Dew because your mouth's on fire, you need a drink.
Oh, there you go.
Then we're going to go into BuildSubmarines.com for Mr. Busher. Good old Moody Blue is making its 2024 appearance this year. Truex is going to be running Auto Owners. He's been pretty good with Auto Owners 2 years ago when we were there at the dirt race. Mm-hmm. Except for whenever James Small and those guys kind of messed up his pit and he spun out a little bit because of the hole in the track.
Yeah, the hole.
But he did dominate the Truck Series race with that. Did. So, Auto Owners, Seabell's got DeWalt again. He won with a Ream, I think, this past weekend.
Yeah.
Dex Imaging's on Harrison Burton. Joey's back to Shell. Lidos, however you say that's with Bubba. And it's interesting. Everybody knows his crew chief as Booty Barker. His real name is Robert Barker.
Interesting.
Anyway, William Byron's got Liberty again.
Somebody pronounced Bobby wrong one time. And it just stuck.
Daniel Hemrick having a horrible, abysmal season. Runs Circle again. McDowell's back to the Loves, so see him running top 5.
Yeah, I like Loves.
Todd Gilliland's running City Guard. Priest is running Haas Tooling. John Hunter is running the Dollar Tree car. Anyway.
Chick-Hicks car?
No, that was the Safeway car. Because Safeway's got all these
different... Oh, because all the little...
Safeway's got the stupid commercials that you see where they're like the brand power commercials that they had. They had them in the past where like, oh, if you have this jock itch, you use this. And then they would have another brand power commercial. It was like, oh, all the kids love to have this. And it was like something. Anyway.
Gotcha.
Then you have Advent Health's going to be for Eric Jones. That used to be a Ross Chastain sponsor.
Yeah.
which is interesting because Advent Health is mostly, I think, is like Florida based. I don't remember. I could be wrong on that. Advent might go up. Anyway, Monster Energy running with Tyler Reddick. Ballpark Buns and Rolls running with Ricky Stenhouse.
Ooh, that's fun.
Yeah. That would be cool. And also, if you're listening, we need some swag or something, or a way of getting into getting into the garage area at Pocono. That would be awesome and much appreciated. Our one and only NASCAR friend that has been actually on the podcast, yes, and is a very genuine, great guy. If you ever run into him, or you guys need to follow him on TikTok and Instagram and X and all that fun stuff. Alex Bowman's got Ally back. Ohanify, Justin Haley. I don't know what Ohanify is. Ty Gibbs is going to be running Sirius XM car. I think this is his first time running Sirius XM. Focused Health is going to be on Zane Smith. Gainbridge Cal Ripken Senior Foundation is going to be on Carson Hocevar.
Okay.
And the Jockey Outdoors by Luke Bryan / Bassmaster Classic car is going to be Daniel Suarez.
Oh, man.
He needs to come out with a fishing rod and, in
his underwear? What?
I mean, they already had that commercial with him and Ross in his underwear.
Go fishing in his underwear? Oh, my.
So anyway, that's what leads up to the race here at the Food City 500 is what it is. So diving into our weekend schedule here, Saturday we have Truck Series practice at 3 on FS1, not on terrestrial radio. Truck qualifying on FS1 at 3:40 Eastern, not on terrestrial radio. Then we have our practice and qualifying at 5 and 5:50. So short 50-minute practice, probably less than that, probably a 30-minute practice for Cup Series.
Well, it's not a very big track, so
no,
they don't need that much time.
550's qualifying, FS1, PRN, and all of this is going to be simulcast on Sirius XM, which I'm curious how they do that for the ones that are not on terrestrial radio. So PRN's not running it. So is PRN calling it for Sirius XM? They're just not putting it over the air? Anyway, I digress. Truck Series race is going to be the Weather Guard truck race. 250 laps. Starts at 8 Eastern. FS1. MRN's got the call on it, and Sirius XM is going to be simulcasting it.
What day?
Saturday. This is all on Saturday.
Okay.
Then we're moving on to Sunday. 3:30 Eastern is the Food City 500. PRN's got the radio call. It will be on Fox. Green Flag's probably going to be dropping about 3:47 if we go by what happened this past weekend. 3:47 Green Flag drop. Boom. We run into our stage breaks, which has become a popular talking on this podcast, is stage breaks now since we have a list of them. They're going to be running 500 laps at 266.5 miles. We are going to be running 125, 125, 250.
Dumb.
And our typical responses. So, but it's Bristol. There's going to be a lot of wrecks.
Yeah.
So it makes up for it. I mean, as silly as having the same, 125, 125, 250, it's going to be different.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's what we have coming up. Then we're going to be going to Circuit of the Americas.
Also, you didn't segue into that very well.
I'm sorry.
You should have said, it's Bristol, baby.
Hashtag Bristol, help us out. Night race.
Yeah.
That would be awesome and appreciated.
Very much.
I'm pulling out all the stops. I am not apologizing.
My parents went that one time.
Yeah.
Left us kids home.
I'm not apologizing for the shameless plug for the 5 people that listen to this podcast that we need sponsorship from NASCAR to go to these races and hang out with these guys. And you guys that are listening, please like and share this podcast with anybody you may know. I know I talked to a Harrisburg Capitol police officer about this one time, and I told him he needs to listen, and I don't think he did. But if you're listening, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And guys, that would be cool. But anyway, going back to it, so we have Bristol this weekend, then Palm Sunday we have Circuit of the Americas. So don't forget to wear your green for your Food City 500, or you're going to get pinched. Or drink your green beer, drink your green sodas, whatever you do. We do not condone drinking and driving. Please put the keys away before you drink. Shameless plug because we don't want anybody suing us. Toyota Owners 400 on Easter Sunday at Richmond. Then we go to the Cookout 400 in Martinsville, which little ditty. Trying to go to that race. At least one of us out of this podcast will be going to that race. I'm saying it now. At least one of us will be going to that race. So that rounds out March into the first weekend of April. Also, around the Toyota Owners 400, we will be having the solar eclipse, which everybody thinks the end of the world is going to be happening around that time, because the total blackout solar eclipse is going through Little Islam or something like that.
I think it's just so silly that, this is totally off topic of NASCAR, but people who do that stuff, it's totally America centralized. It's they think because it's happening here it's no. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it could happen, but
anyway, just a little tidbit on what's been going on. Formula One has had 2 races, and they have been very uneventful. I don't care if you like Formula One. I am throwing shade at Formula One. When your first race, the guy who wins with a 22-second lead. We go on this podcast and we complain when William Byron or Kyle Larson win with a 5-second lead.
Yeah.
At least it's 5 seconds.
No, 5 seconds it's terrible.
It's terrible, but it's 5 seconds. It's not 22 seconds
like
this one.
That's just I'm not even going to watch this anymore.
And then Saudi Arabia comes out here. The Saudi Arabia Grand Prix, 13.6 second lead. Same guy won it too. Back-to-back wins. Max Verstappen wins the Formula One.
I don't know much about Formula One, so.
But I'm segueing in from Formula One to open wheel racing, and we had this past weekend. We had what do they call it?
I thought you liked Formula One.
I used to like it, but I used to also like Lewis Hamilton, but then.
Then you got married and you know better?
No. Some things happened with him, and he kind of I try not to be a political podcast, but he got woke. And that's what happened. And I don't like that. Stick to stinking racing. And now he sucks. But he's also apparently going to Ferrari next year, I think that's right. So he's running... Anyway. So yeah, we had our IndyCar.
You should buy me a Ferrari.
At some point,
all these hills over here.
Yeah, right. IndyCar Series race. We had Team Penske come out, and I mentioned this on the socials. They took 3 of the top 4 spots of the opening IndyCar race, in St. Petersburg. Road course. It's pretty cool road course.
Where's St. Petersburg?
Tampa.
Okay.
So it's pretty cool because they actually shut down a runway at this airport. You have one active runway, and they shut down a runway because the cars go on it and then come back off of it. And they use it as part of the track. It's pretty neat.
That's crazy.
But anyway, IndyCar, Joseph Newgarden got the win. Penske, Pato O'Ward out there. Scott McLaughlin, Will Power got 4th. So
I like Will Power.
It's going to be...
Not just because of his name, but...
It'd be better if his name was
cool.
Maxwell, and everybody called him Max Power. But anyway, I mean...
But if you're from Texas, Will is Wheel. Wheel Power.
Wheel Power. Oh, Wheel Power got 4th. So yeah, I mean, he won the race. They have another one coming up March 24th. Is the 1 million thermal challenge. So we'll touch briefly on this stuff. Alex Palou, I think he won the 500, so on. We've talked about double dipping, which would be kind of cool. It's not going to happen anytime soon, unfortunately, because of the sheer cost of it. But going and watching the 500 and then driving and watching the 600, or flying and watching the 600, sleep on the plane to watch the Coke 600. I mean, this is the first year that we're going to have somebody doing it again since, Tony Stewart?
Yeah, I think so. No, was it Kurt Busch?
Yeah, Kurt Busch did it. But didn't Tony Stewart do it after Kurt? Didn't he do it early in his career? Kurt did. Anyway, those two guys, the last since those two guys did it, double dipping on the Memorial Day weekend, running the Indy 500, then flying east to Charlotte to run the Coke 600, which is my bucket list race to go to. I really want to go to the Coke 600 because I think that would be awesome. Anyway, we still have a lot of these same guys running. Santino Ferrucci's got him running now. Romain Grosjean got into an accident with, I don't know who it was. I saw the thing, and I mean, this is the only thing that I don't like about Indy cars. Open wheel racing, they're so sensitive.
Yes.
I mean,
and they have some weird rules.
Yeah, like certain overtaking and things like that you can't do. Mm-hmm. But at least they fuel up, unlike Formula One. Formula One, you're not allowed to fuel your car. So you got to run, and that's why they run like 20 or 30 laps. Besides, they're running 2-3 miles a race, every race. Anyway, I'm done ranting. This is a stock car podcast, and I want to keep it that way. And we will touch briefly on IndyCar and stay America. So anyway, that is it. Don't forget to tune in to the Food City 500 and the truck race, the 250 race on Saturday night. And we hope
definitely watch the truck race. It's gonna be
my goodness, it's gonna, if they wreck so much now they were good and balanced, on the past 3 races. But if they wake up and they're like, I'm going to be like Bristol and wreck the beep out of everybody, or not Bristol, Daytona, it's going to be a wild race.
I think it's going to be like
and NASCAR has been testing wet tires at Bristol.
That's crazy.
They have a wet tire package.
How will they not slide down the hill?
I don't know.
Because we drove on that track.
And it was kind of scary.
And
we didn't drive on it.
You drove.
Rode.
Okay.
I drove.
Well, I almost drove on it too because I was almost in your lap.
Yeah, and I was almost out the door. And this isn't a truck, guys. This isn't a truck, not a car, not a stock car. An F-150 with 2 kids in the back seat.
I had to hold on to the bar to stay in my seat.
Yeah. That's a wild trip. If anybody ever thinks about doing that, don't go do the one at Charlotte. That one costs an arm and a leg. Don't go do the one at Bristol. That one's kind of boring looking. Go do the one, or not Bristol. I'm sorry, not Bristol. Dover. That one's kind of boring. Go do the one at Bristol. That one's got the history, and you get to drive down the drag strip too.
Oh, the Christmas thing.
Yeah, Christmas lights drive through. But anyway, end on this final note on this podcast news. NASCAR did come saying they are going to be electrifying at some point in the near future. Whether that means they're going to have another series or they're going to come hybrid. I'd like to see a hybrid. I think
the cars are going to be too heavy.
The cars will be heavy.
They're going to damage the tracks.
Oh my goodness. If you have not heard,
wait till one bursts into flames and it boils the track.
Well, they've run those kind of, I don't know. If you've never heard the Cadillac endurance car, and you're a gearhead, go listen to that thing from pit exit, or pit stop to pit exit. Oh my goodness, that is awesome sounding. Because it sits there and you hear the electric, and then you hear as it goes off. It's so cool sounding. It's so cool because it's so cool. There's no other way of saying it. It's so cool.
Well, I didn't hear it, so I can't tell if it's cool or not.
No,
you might just be a nerd.
it's, if I had more time and I had it, maybe we'll open up the podcast next week with that sound after our intro. Also, we are testing and thinking about doing a special edition, maybe once a month podcast with 2 guest people for a small segment of that. We'll see how that goes. But anyway, everybody have a good week, and we'll catch you next week after next weekend, and see if the winner. Oh, we didn't pick our winner. I'm jumping to conclusions. Pick our winner. Who do you have running and winning the Food City 500?
Martin usually does get at Bristol.
No, he doesn't.
Well, I mean, he does get, but I don't know.
He does good,
he
but he gets scared
and
he runs in the back and then gets wrecked.
Okay, so who else is really good at Bristol?
And I've been picking people that haven't been winning, and
it's probably gonna be like Larson or somebody.
I don't know.
I don't know. It's a hard one to pick because it's so different than all the other tracks.
Yeah.
And who won it last year?
Well, last year was on dirt.
Yeah, but the night race? Who won the night race?
I don't know. Bristol Motor Speedway race winners. Let's find out real quick. Food City Supermarket Heroes was Keselowski. And then the night race was Denny. So this must be...
Denny. Oh, yeah. Denny's pretty good there.
Because this is 19. So this is 2020 and 19. So that's old.
That is old.
I think William Byron won at some point anyway.
Ew.
All time winners at Bristol. I don't want top winners. Good night. Winner. I just want a history of winners. Here we go. We had Denny won the night race in 23. This is all night race stuff, and then the All-Star race. Denny, Busher, Larson won the night race. Harvick won it in 2020. Matty D won the All-Star Open. And then Chase Elliott won the All-Star race in 2020. Remember, that's whenever they had the underglow on the cars.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have Chase Elliott in 2020. I see the All-Star race. Okay. Supermarket Heroes 500 was Keselowski, then Denny, then the Food City 500. So this looks like they kind of just took out the dirt race, and this is all. You have Kyle Busch, Kurt Busch, Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch looks like he's...
It's more aggressive drivers that win there,
because you're just going to plow through anybody.
Yeah.
So who knows?
It could be.
Austin Dillon might get his first true win.
I foresee him crashing again.
I think if Kyle Busch can get out of his own way, I would put him as one of the top
contenders,
guys.
definitely.
Kyle Busch, Joey Logano.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to say Joey Logano's been stinking it up a little bit, but I think it could be a Joey Logano.
But, and this is a big but, we have a new contender in this thing, and I would be Kick Butowski if he actually won this thing. Noah Gragson.
Yeah.
He is pretty aggressive.
Yeah. He's been doing good lately, too.
Yeah. So that's my pick. I got Gragson.
Okay. You get Gragson. I'm going to pick somebody that we didn't even say. I'm going to pick Ty Gibbs.
Ooh, interesting. Okay. He is very aggressive, but he's been very mellow since being in Cup Series.
Yeah, but he's going to be on Bristol, and I feel like he's going to get all...
Martinsville does that to him, though. Don't you remember the Martinsville? He took out his own teammate?
Okay. Ty Gibbs and Denny Hamlin don't have teammates. Okay?
And
you
Bubba.
say they have teammates. They don't have teammates.
Bubba doesn't act like he has teammates either. That and he must have brain farted, I think, last weekend or Sunday.
Well, okay, so
with
he
manufacturer teammates.
Bubba, I though feel like he will help Denny, but he won't help Reddick because Reddick does better than him, and Reddick came up after him, and I know he's all.
What
like,
they need to do
better.
is they need to do a swap with the 11 and the 45. Coach needs to just kick Denny out of that car. Say, thank you for your service. Go run your car. We're going to stay the same manufacturer. Alliances here. You keep your little FedEx people, whatever. We want Reddick over here with his sponsors, McDonald's and all that, which McDonald's is tied with 2311. They're not tied with Reddick because they
Yeah.
were running with Kurt. When we saw Kurt Busch and Bubba Wallace the day before, the same day that he wrecked, and that was the last time he ever raced in a car. We were there. We saw him before that. Do you realize that?
Oh, yeah.
I think you and I did. That, or it was me and your dad.
No, it was you and Bub, I think. It wasn't us.
No, your dad was with me.
Oh, then yeah. Well,
We saw Kurt Busch hours before because he was dishing out McDonald's food,
yeah.
ice cream and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we went back and it was us talking to the guy running the simulation stuff, and he just let Nathan run on it for like 20 minutes.
Yeah, I think Bubba was there when we got
Bubba was there too. But like, yeah, Ty was there. We saw we saw Reddick at Daytona last year.
Yeah.
But we saw Kurt Busch right before he was doing it. That's wild. I just thought about that. That's mind-blowing.
Yeah.
Anyway. Oh, well. Bristol, a lot of wreck cars. Thousands, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars going to be laying on that track. They just repainted it.
It's going to be so much fun.
It's going to be wild. I wish we could be there. Bristol, if you're listening, SMI, please hook us up. We'll do some stuff from there. Anyway, guys,
we like free stuff.
Yeah. Guys, don't forget to like, follow, share this podcast with everybody that you know likes motorsports, especially stock car racing, NASCAR stock car racing. And anyway, I hope you guys have a great week, and we'll catch you next on the flip side of the race. Take care.
Bye.